What is going on, everybody? So tonight we're going to be looking at every single set from One Piece, and we're going to be looking at the values of the cards in each set. We're going to look at the top chase card, top 3, top 5, top 10 value. We'll look at the booster box price, even though I won't have those graphs up. And we're just going to talk about what's actually changing. We're going to look at a few individual cards because there have been some shifts to the market, and there also seems to be some big changes coming as well this year. So we will start off by looking at Romance Dawn. The booster box, the white bottom, is about $419 on TCG Player. Again, these prices are all from TCG Player, US dollars. If you work in another currency, I'm sorry. I'm Canadian as well, so I understand your pain, but it's the best we got for now. So top one value, the Shanks, $844. This one's been continuing to fall. It's kind of still selling in that range. I think I brought it up here. Not a ton of sales. Most recent sale is right at $800, and that was last Friday, I believe. During the Mayhem sale, there's also a couple around $850 as well. So that might just be an outlier, and we might still be in that $850 range for the most part. The Zoro parallel card is still selling fairly consistently in that 330, 340-ish range. Maybe like four sales a week, 3 sales a week, something like that. Next up, we'll look at Paramount War. And we're going to go through these first 4 sets pretty quickly because there isn't anything super interesting in these, in my opinion. Romance Dawn's kind of interesting to talk about. Maybe we'll discuss a bit later. But these other ones, Paramount War, the Ace card is continuing to fall. I don't even think I brought it up here. Pillars of Strength, again, not really anything too much to look at outside of like the Soga King, which is still selling fairly consistently in that like 320, 330-ish range. And then Kingdoms of Intrigue. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of this set. The Sabo is whatever. It's, still selling around $350, $400-ish dollars. Most recent sales, though, are actually closer to that 320, 330 range. So when we go look at our chart here, booster box price on most of these, again, between 190-ish and 220. Makes sense, I guess. The Ace manga set being the most expensive of those 3. And the most expensive chase card by far, $665 compared to $377 and $390, or $380 rather, $379.90. And top 5 value, top 3 value, again, nothing crazy here. When you look at top 10 value, Paramount War, $1,217, Pillars of Strength, $1,137, and then Kingdoms of Intrigue, under $1,000. Still one of only 2 sets in One Piece below $1,000 for top 10 value. So there really is not a lot in these sets. The boxes are kind of just running on scarcity, and then maybe Paramount War, like the Ace card's a bit more valuable. People might want to chase that, but Soga King and Sabo manga is not really super exciting. Contrast that to something like Romance Dawn, the blue bottoms. You have pre-erotic cards in there that collectors will want to open in the future. You also have a lot of fan favorites, the Shanks, the Zoro, Law, Nami, Luffy. So lots of great cards in Romance Dawn compared to the next 3 sets. Now, the 4th set after Romance Dawn was OP5 Awakening of the New Era. And I have so many tabs open here, guys. This is a very great set. Super, super deep. We've been keeping an eye on the Luffy. It does seem like this card, along with a lot of the other manga cards from after OP05, a lot of them are continuing to climb. On TCG Player, the most recent raw sale was $3,800. And I think we've seen sales like over $4,000. I'm pretty sure we covered that yesterday in eBay auctions. Also, the stamped Luffy card is going for about $1,500-ish, $1,450, $1,500, based on most recent raw sales. We haven't seen a ton, though. Last sale was May 17th. Before that, we had a couple sales on May 2nd. It sells a little bit on eBay as well, but not super common there. Booster box price about $280. Top 1 value, the top Luffy chase card, is about $25.60. This is the second most expensive chase card out of any One Piece set so far. Top 3 value is $4,534 approximately. That is still second place. Same thing with top 5 and top 10 values, still in second place behind only OP09. 51.21 and then 54.40. So lots of value in this set, lots of cards for collectors to want to chase in the future. And it makes sense to me. We're getting ahead of ourselves here, looking at some other sets. It makes sense why OP05 is a set people want to open still, because there are cards outside of meta relevance that people are going to want in the future. Now, next up, we have Wings of the Captain. And like I've said in most of my recent videos, this set is actually growing on me. and it's really not as bad as I initially thought it was. The Zoro card up top, $790. We actually saw a sale, I think yesterday. Yeah, yesterday, $900 USD. A couple days before that, $875 and then $830. This card's selling 3 times a week ish on average over the past couple weeks, and it is climbing towards that $1,000 threshold. I don't know if it'll get there. I still think it's a great card. I actually really enjoy it as a chase card, so it makes sense. Also, the Rebecca was below $100. I think it was up to like 150 a few months ago, dropped down to around 90, and now most recent sales are back over $100, and it is selling fairly consistently as well. When we look at the values in this set, it's kind of a middle tier set. I believe it's like ranked 6th out of 12 sets on this list. On the booster box price, right around $150 right now. Top 10 value, $1,400. Again, the top one value, $790, but most recent sales on that are probably closer to like $850, $900. That really puts it in elite company where a lot of these other sets like OP5, OP9, PRB01, the 25th anniversary, or the 25th anime collection rather. A lot of these sets have Luffy chase cards. The Shanks from Romance Dawn's decent as well. But outside that, Zoro's up there as one of the best chase cards in the TCG right now. So we really do have to put some respect on Wings of the Captain. And I think this booster box, we have been covering it on the channel when I do the spreadsheet data. I still think it's going to climb into like the mid 150s. I think it's probably one of the only boxes, maybe even 160 in the short term. It's probably one of the only boxes that still has some room to grow in the short term. Next up, EB01. This is the set with Tony Chopper, and I'm actually really enjoying this right now just because I'm in the anime right where Chopper's being introduced. I think there is like still the second arc or whatever. Chopper, you get the backstory that he's a reindeer, how he becomes a doctor and all that. So as I get deeper into the anime, I really am starting to appreciate a lot of these characters more. And the manga card itself is also doing fairly decently. Lots of people showing love to it. Most recent sale, May 19th, $852.50 raw. And then before that, May 16th, we had one at $790, $854, $860. A couple days before that, another $860. So most sales are in that mid 800-ish range. TCG Player Graph still has it in the like 760, 770 range. So I think this will continue to climb over time and we'll see the graph adjust. Top 10 value here around $1,300. So again, like if you look at the boxes and you're trying to figure out what you want to open, Wings of the Captain, $150-ish dollars, and you can get about $1,400 of value in the top 10 cards if you are lucky with your pulls. Whereas Memorial Collection, $1,300. And this box is $350, double the price. So it's not really a set people are opening. Again, this is sort of like the sets OP02, 3, and 4, where the box is kind of running on scarcity, I think, at this point, which makes a lot of sense to me. I know there are some playable cards in it, like Mr. 2, that are continuing to rise right now because a Luffy's coming out, and that's going to be a playable card in that deck. But like I've said many times, even when this box rotates out, it's still going to be very expensive because there just aren't that many on the market. Now, next up, OP07, the booster box is about $118. And we can see here the Manga Boa Hancock is up to around $600 on the graph. But most recent sales for this card, closer to $700. And we actually did have a sale May 2nd right at $700. And then the past 3 sales, couple last Friday during the Mayhem sale, $700, $690. And then May 20th, a couple days ago, $700, almost $699. So decent set. Again, it's kind of the waifu set. Jewelry Bonnie, you have Onami in there, a couple Boa Hancocks, sure you have a Vegapunk and some other cards, but it really is kind of the waifu set of the era, and it's alright. It's nothing too crazy. When we look at top 10 value, if we come back over here, $1,100, that's kind of near the bottom of the list outside like 2 Legends and Kingdoms of Intrigue, not great, and Royal Blood as well, which we'll get to in a second, but it's alright, it's decent. Next up, we have PRB01. This is a pretty, actually, sorry, I skipped one, I believe. 2 Legends. So, Silver Rayleigh, again, not much to talk about in this set. The Silver Rayleigh, about $286. It is selling that range, I checked. Jewelry Bonnie, still over 100, 117-ish, but nothing crazy in this set, and I believe this is the worst value you can get out of a booster box. Top 10 cards, $760-ish. The top chase is under $300, just not great. The booster box is $94.71. I would not be buying 2 Legends as an investment. There's still a lot out there. And I understand it's cheap, but really, like, I'd probably rather go with Royal Blood Even with how new of a set it is, I think if I could get this at like $90 and I could get Royal Blood at $90, I'd probably just go with Royal Blood because I think long term it probably has the better card list and cards that collectors will want, not just people playing the game. So next up, we have PRBO1. You have all the reprinted mangas in there, also the Golden Dawns, the Luffy up top. This card has been continuing to climb like most of the mangas. Most recent sale, 1731.45. That was on the 17th. Day before that, so last Saturday, and then Friday, 1649 there. So pretty expensive card for a PRB reprint set. The Golden Dawns also really surprised me. This is the Zoro. This is the most expensive one, kind of breaking $400 based on recent sales. The most recent one from today, $398 there. And then we have OP09. We're going to do these back to back before we go look at the numbers. Gold Roger up top around $3,300. Doesn't really sell super often. The card that's surprising to me is the Monkey D. Luffy, which is kind of rising, I think. Most recent sales here, May 12th, we had a PSA 10 sell for $1,000. And then we had some raw ones sell. So Mayhem last Friday, $975, $950 yesterday, and then $954 today. Not bad considering like a couple months ago, this card was around $900. Will it break through 1,000? Who knows? I would wager that it's probably not unless it does it soon. And that's because I've heard rumors. I've had a couple people talk to me and say that OP09 is getting a reprint. They've got confirmation from distributors. They've been able to pre-order product. Not surprising to me. I've been calling for months at this point that they were going to reprint OP09. I know some people said that they weren't going to do it. They had too much to print. Guys, the box was already $200 like a couple months after release. It's not surprising that OP09 is going to be getting a reprint, and honestly, it probably deserves one at this point. But when we go look at these two sets back to back, because these are two of some of the best sets in One Piece, PRBO1, the box is about $290. Top one value is $1,370, but really it's closer to like $1,700. That's about third place. The Gold Roger is the most expensive card still in One Piece, around $3,260, $3,270, $3,300, whatever you want to call it. And I know there are more expensive promo cards, but I'm talking about cards you can pull from a booster box. Top three value here, PRBO1, $2,400. OP09 is about double that, around $5K. Top five value is over $6K for OP09. And then top 10 value over $7,000 for OP09. If you want to open a set right now, OP09 seems like a very good choice compared to a lot of these other ones. Like I would much prefer to spend $200 on OP09 and open that compared to any of the first four sets. Romance Dawn being double that if you wanted to buy one of those. Even OP5 Awakening the New Era, it's more expensive, but there's more value in OP09 unless you're chasing those Luffy cards, which fair enough at that point because those really are awesome cards. That Luffy, by the way, really could be, and I'll bring it back up here if I can find it. This card really could be the Charizard of One Piece. It's great. Everybody wants it. Main character from the anime. It just makes sense. So I'll leave it at that. Moving on, we will look at Royal Blood here. I brought up the Shanks manga as well from PRBO1. I think I probably had a reason to do this. Recent sales around $800 and then $725 there. So maybe I just brought it up because I think over the past month or so it has been climbing, past couple months there. Royal Blood, we'll go through this fast because this video is already getting quite long. Nothing crazy here. We talked about this the other day. I really like the Edward Newgate, the Sanji as well. Those are probably my favorite cards from the set. Not really a huge fan of the Law manga there. EBO2, this is actually really surprising to me. EBO2, if we go look at values, and I understand it's a newer set, so this is going to adjust over time, but the booster box is about $185. The chase card, that Luffy up top, is over $1,100 right now, which is surprising to me. I think it's starting to reach a little bit. Top 3 value around $1,900, top 5 value $2,400, and top 10 value $3,660. That is in fourth place, only behind OP05, OP09, and the PRBO1 set. So very deep set, surprisingly. I think a lot of this has to do with these leader cards being very difficult to pull. And I understand that the Luffy manga is going to have value. This is one of my most iconic poses for a lot of people from the series. And most recent sales are actually over $1,200 from yesterday. Two sales over $1,200, one closer to $1,250 there. But these other Luffys, this alternate art version is starting to come down a bit. It was over $400, $450 at one point. Most recent sales from today, $344 and $345. So I think a lot of these leaders will start to lose value. Same thing with the Boa Hancock, Yamato. Vegapunk, still interesting, holding around that 270 range. Again, the errata card there. Other Luffy's in here, Jewelry Bonnie. Lots of these leader cards are still propping up this set, so we'll have to wait and see a couple months from now to get a better idea of what's going to happen. Either way, when you look at One Piece and you're trying to figure out what to invest in, it really doesn't take a genius to figure out what you should be going with. OP5, PRBO1, OP09, these are the obvious ones. Again, I think OP09 is going to be getting a reprint. Some people have said that that's already basically confirmed. We'll have to wait and see, but I think you're going to be able to get boxes cheaper in the future, hopefully. And if there is a reprint, that's going to be your time where you can jump in there for that month or so when the boxes are cheaper and, build a position. Outside those three sets, I mean, it's kind of a toss-up. You can talk about Romance Dawn, Blue Bottoms, the boxes being rare, pre-erotic cards being inside of those, even the white bottoms. Honestly, the set has a fair amount of value, but outside those 3 or 4 sets, there really is a large discrepancy between them and the rest of them, like OPO2, 3, and 4, and then 6 all the way up to 8. Maybe Wings of the Captain you want to throw in with those initial 4 sets just because it's really not that bad. And honestly, that Zoro manga chase card is great. It's a collector card for sure. It's also a lot cheaper than sets like O4, O3, and O2, and especially a lot cheaper than OPO1 White Bottom. So if you were going to buy a set, I'd probably lean towards Wings of the Captain if you don't have a ton of money and you already have exposure to Romance Dawn, OPO5, PRBO1, and O9, yeah, maybe go with some Wings of the Captain at that point. But with that said, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.